Are you sick and tired of your life looking the exact same year after year, holiday after holiday, event after event, birthday after birthday? You are really forced to look in the mirror and evaluate the previous year only to realize your life is either the exact same or much worse, whether it's in the health and wellness category or maybe your home organization, maybe it's your bank account or your career. And you feel so frustrated and quite honestly, you feel exhausted. And you feel exhausted from the feelings of frustration, maybe regret, disappointment, and you're sick of it. You're ready to break the cycle for good. And if that sounds like you at all, this video is for you. You're going to learn my 4-step process of how to power over procrastination. You're going to learn really how to take that first step, which is by far the hardest, that is going to ultimately change you as a person where procrastination isn't even a problem for you at all anymore. That first step is definitely the hardest because of something called the law of inertia. And all that really means is something has the tendency to stay the same until a force acts upon it. And so this process right here, it's kind of like the force that's going to act on your current state. To give you a little more description about the law of inertia, I want you to think about you riding a bike at the bottom of a mountain. Those first few pedals are incredibly challenging. Your legs are burning. You feel like you're not really getting anywhere at all. And everything in you wants to get off the bike and rest. But if you keep going, eventually you get up the hill and the law of inertia starts working for you. And you start to speed down the hill without even having to pedal because it's so easy. So this is what's really cool about this process is that you're going to learn how to get those first few pedals going, but eventually over time, law of inertia is going to work for you because a body in motion stays in motion. I don't know if you have any friends that are runners. I used to be a big runner. Now I just kind of lift weights and go on walks, but my friends who are runners, they are definitely ones to say things like, Macy, I was supposed to go on a 5-mile run today, but I just couldn't help myself. I had to do 8 miles. And to someone who's not a runner, that sounds quite literally psychotic. But for someone who does exercise and totally gets how the brain works, it makes sense because the law of inertia is working for them. They are so used to staying in motion. They're so used to staying in that flow, staying in that state of movement, that it's actually harder for them not to run than it is to run. And that's exactly what I want to happen for you. I want you to get in a place where your new state, your new flow is so positive, it's so high energy, and it's so effective that you start going to sleep tired, but the type of tired where you laid it all out on the field. The type of tired in which, you gave it all, you drained all your energy, but you still feel a little bit of anticipation and a little bit of excitement to get back after it tomorrow. So if you want that, and if you're ready to experience that type of life, then you're going to want to know this 4-step process. So let's get started right now. I would probably guess that 99% of people feel like they are a victim to the tasks and responsibilities that they have in their life. And what I want to show you today is that it's not that your tasks are overwhelming you, it's your mind that's overwhelming you. And when you can get control of your mind, you can get control of your entire life. So let's just start by thinking about some things that you're procrastinating. Maybe some stuff is going to pop up right away. And maybe there's some things deep down that you've kind of pushed to the side. Maybe it's as simple as laundry or meal planning. Maybe it's exercising, volunteering at your kid's school, maybe finding a new church, posting that YouTube video. Maybe you've been creating your offer for a really long time and you're definitely procrastinating the selling of the offer. The way I like to think about these things is they're things that you want to do, but don't feel like doing. And I think that's really important to acknowledge that you do want to do them, you just don't feel like doing them. So what is the opposite of that? It's you don't want to do them and you don't feel like doing them. So I would guess that you are not procrastinating jumping into a cage with a lion because you don't feel like doing that and you don't want to do that. So just acknowledge that and notice, okay, I am resisting this because I actually want it. And bringing that to light is going to, I know this sounds maybe a little bit crazy, but it's going to create this new relationship that you have with this thing that you're procrastinating and just kind of realizing okay, I do want this. I just don't feel like doing it. And so the goal for this process is not to make you just do the thing and to power through it. It's to make you feel like doing the thing. Because when you can feel like doing it is just a byproduct of how you feel in your body. Step 1 of the 4-step process to power over procrastination is to recognize it. I know that sounds really simple, but it's actually very challenging to really recognize what is the thing that we are avoiding or procrastinating with. This is so challenging because a lot of us are living in this unconscious state, which basically means we're living on autopilot. I want you to think about the state that you're in when you're like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes or driving home in your hometown. You very much so are on autopilot. You're not really thinking about the thing that you're doing. You're thinking about all different kinds of things. And our brains were wired like that very specifically because we had to conserve a lot of energy. We didn't know when our next meal was going to be. So to conserve all the energy as possible so that we could make it into our next meal. But that is obviously not the case anymore. We conserve energy just fine, and we need to actually expend energy. And so a way to expend energy is to actually bring things up to consciousness that you've been putting down in unconsciousness and living on autopilot. Now, your brain ain't going to like this at all. It's going to pitch a little temper tantrum, and that's okay. It's totally normal. So what I want to do is give you like a 3-step mini process to start to bring things up to consciousness to hopefully make it as easy as possible. So I want you to notice the things that cause a little bit of resistance for you. So maybe you go to do a task, maybe you see something, maybe you remember that you should be doing something and you're not doing it, and you might start feeling a type of way. You might start feeling a little frustrated. I know for me, sometimes I almost get a little angry. You might be tempted to start scrolling and grab your phone or maybe even to go get a snack. That is how you know that this is something that you might be procrastinating and avoiding. So when you experience that, I want you to go grab a piece of paper and do these 3 things. Number 1, write down the task. Number 2, write down the thought that you're having when you think about that task. And number 3, write down the feeling that you're experiencing in your body from thinking that thought. So I want to give you a personal example that is very accurate in my life right now. And it is my bathroom drawers. My bathroom drawers are kind of messy and cluttered. And I did it this morning. I was like, okay, when I see my bathroom drawers, what is the thought that I'm having? And truly, my instant thought that comes to me is, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And when I think that thought in my body, I feel anxious. Now, where most people get this wrong is they see the messy drawers, they see the task, they see the thing that they're avoiding, and they think that that thing is making them feel anxious. But that just isn't true. It can't be true. How do I know that? Because 2 people can look at the same exact messy bathroom drawers and they could feel 2 totally different things. One person could feel anxious when they see the bathroom drawers, and another person could potentially feel excited when they see the bathroom drawers. How could this be? These 2 people have 2 completely different frames around the task that they are avoiding, which brings me to step number 2, which is to reframe it. So before we can get into reframing, let's first talk about what a frame is. All a frame is it's something that creates focus. So I want you to think about walking into a room and there's all these pieces of paper all over the walls, but only one of them is framed. What are you going to do? You're going to focus on the piece of paper that is framed. And the type of frame is going to help you kind of tell a story about what it is that you're looking at. Maybe it's a antique frame or a grand, large frame, or maybe it's a homemade popsicle stick frame that your child made at school. Whatever the frame is going to make you have a different kind of thought about it. So we all have these mental frames that we use to interpret things and situations. Maybe you know people that have more of like a negative mental framing or people that have more positive mental framing. Just the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine. We have a mutual friend that is expecting a baby and it was a surprise. And so the circumstances are kind of interesting because she lives out of the country. And so now they got to move back to the United States and they got to time it just right. And we were talking about the timing of this that's going to happen. And my friend said, oh, it's going to be so challenging because she's going to have to move in June. The baby is due in August. Her other kids are going to go to school. It's going to be so chaotic. And I thought, really, I actually think that timing is perfect. She's going to move in June. She gets to nest in July. Her baby comes in August. Her other kids go to school so she can enjoy the baby at home, by herself and have this one-on-one time. I think it's actually going to work out perfect. It couldn't work out any better. And that just shows there's two people that have two completely different framings about the same circumstance. Now, is one framing better than the other? No, I'm just proving the point that people have different interpretations of everything. So what is it that creates that framing about the things that happen in your life? It's the thoughts that you're having. So I want you to think about a fact or a circumstance. The frame that you have about it is formed from the thought that you're having. And that thought is going to create a feeling in your body, which is going to make you act or not act. So let's look at this in terms of the task that you're avoiding. So you can look at the task almost like a fact. And the framing that you have about that task is a thought that you have. And then that thought is going to create a feeling in your body, which again, it's going to make you act or not act. So we've brought awareness to the state of my bathroom drawers, which are messy, okay? And my framing about my messy bathroom drawers is, I don't have time for this, which is creating a feeling in my body of anxiousness. So one of the ways that you can reframe this is by thinking about someone who could potentially feel excited about messy bathroom drawers. I know that kind of sounds crazy to me personally, but there are definitely people in this world that would see a bathroom drawer and think a thought that would make them feel excited. So what are those thoughts that someone might be thinking? Well, they could think, ooh, what a fun project. Someone could think, oh, you know what? I get to buy some new things once I clean out all of my old makeup. Or maybe they might think, oh, you know what? Once my drawers are organized, I will enjoy getting ready in the mornings so much more. This new thought will create a new framing, which will make you feel like acting on the task that you've been procrastinating. And while this reframing exercise is definitely very, very effective, I actually think what's even more effective is reconnecting the framing with something that already makes you feel like acting. And that's what step 3 is, which is to reconnect it. There is a very good chance that you have lots of things that you do very naturally that a lot of the world would procrastinate. Things like for me would be waking up early, working out first thing in the morning, starting a business, selling. I love to sell, which 99.9% of the world avoids. Creating content and posting it online. All of those things I genuinely love to do. So what is that for you? Is it laundry? Is it sticking with your budget? Is it sticking to a meal plan, home cooking your meals? Like, what are those things in your life that you're like, oh, I love doing this, but so many people don't like doing it? There's a very good chance that you used to not know how to do it and you used to not like it. But at some point it flipped. At some point you got to a place where you were like, you know what? I actually can do this and I'm growing to love it. My question for you is why? Why do you love those things? This is a good way to reveal a thread of your mental framing of what really motivates you to do things that other people don't really want to do. And how can we reconnect that mental framing with the thing that you currently don't want to do right now? So let me do some examples. Working out first thing in the morning. My thought about that and my mental framing is my brain gets fired up. I can't tell you how many times I've had new ideas, solved problems, and had new connections from moving my body first thing in the morning. So when I think, my brain gets fired up, I feel really motivated. Another example is selling. Selling, in my opinion, is a skill in which when you get better at selling, you get better as a person because you get better at communicating, you get better at connecting with people, and you get better at influencing. And when I think about me getting better as a whole person, I feel incredibly motivated as well. Sticking with building my business. I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but most businesses don't make it past 5 years. And I think the reason why I feel so motivated to stick with it is because I believe that entrepreneurship is the fastest path to personal development. And that drive to develop myself really comes from being a mom. Like, I desire so deeply to be the mom that my kids need more as they get older rather than less. Right now, I have a 2 and 4-year-old, and they need me to make those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and to put a Band-Aid on their knee. And I'm so happy to do those things. But I want to be a mom that stays intellectually connected with them as they get older. That they call me as they're on their way to their very first interview, for their very first job, and then they call me after and they say, "Mom, I got the job. Meet me at Brooks Brothers so I can go get a new suit." Like, I dream of those moments. And if entrepreneurship is the fastest path to personal development, well, I better stick with the business so I can develop myself to stick with them. So hopefully you can see a common thread with some of your mental framings or your thoughts that make you feel very motivated to take certain actions. And so now we want to see, okay, is there a way to reconnect a similar thought, a similar mental framing around this new action, this new task, this new thing that you've been avoiding to make you act differently? Now, there's a very good chance that at first, like, you probably could do that in your mind, but it might be hard for you to believe it, because with all the other things that are easy for you to do, you have a lot of evidence, right? Like, I have evidence of having aha moments while I'm working out. I have evidence of me getting better from selling. I have evidence of my personal development over these last 8 years of entrepreneurship. So it's very easy for me to believe. Now, me connecting this idea of making my bathroom drawers really organized to making me better, making me become a better mom, it's not inherently there. It can easily get there with a very simple Google search or ChatGPT search. So I have some examples here. I just did a ChatGPT search that says, "Why does an organized space boost creativity?" And then I also did one about why does an organized space improve a child's upbringing. So let's look at this creativity one. One says, "A clean space frees up mental energy so you can focus on new ideas." That excites me. An organized space can make it easier to see patterns, make connections, and think creatively. So a huge part of what I do is to see patterns and to connect things that are seemingly unrelated to use for content. So that's very, very important to me. A cluttered space can make you feel stressed or overwhelmed. A clean, inspiring space can make you feel calm and open to new ideas. So here I am. I'm looking for evidence to prove that, okay, having clean bathroom drawers is going to help me be a better business owner. Another example right here is for having an organized home for a better upbringing for your children. A cluttered home can make the kids feel overwhelmed and anxious. A clean space, an organized space, can create a sense of peace, structure, and security. I don't know about you, but I really want my kids to feel that. Fewer distractions equals better learning and better problem-solving skills. So all these are just examples of you creating this arsenal of proof, this arsenal of evidence, and starting to rewire your brain and can make these connections in your mind that, hey, this task that I've been avoiding, it actually matters so much more than I'm even realizing. So after doing my research, these two new mental frames definitely are motivating me, but they don't just stick on their own. You have to do step 4, which is to rewire it. So remember at the beginning of this video, we talked about how you're on autopilot a lot of your life, and we live in this unconscious state. And I'll tell you, that is not a bad thing when you are living in accordance to how you want to live your life. So the point of rewire your brain, this step 4 of the process, is to actually put your brain in autopilot, but in the right direction. We are thinking the same thoughts over and over and over and over again. So the point of this process is to actually bring all of your thoughts up to consciousness, rewire, and then help it go back down into unconsciousness. So here's what this looks like. Number 1, I want you to create the time, don't find the time. Create the time in your calendar to do the thing that you've been avoiding. If you don't know what this looks like or how to do it, I have an entire video on how to calendar your life and plan your life so that you can plan your work and work your plan. We'll definitely link it in the description below. And then I want you to notice that when you come up to that task, like for me, if it would be cleaning my messy drawers, and maybe I put it in my calendar every single morning for 15 minutes. My calendar goes off. It's time to go to the messy drawers. I want you to notice and recognize what are the thoughts and feelings that come up. This goes back to that step 1. Take that mini step and bring it back here. Maybe even bring a piece of paper. Says, okay, here's the messy drawers. Here's my thought about it. And here's what I'm feeling. And next, I want you to consciously practice the new thought you want to have and consciously practice the new feeling in your body. So for me, the new thought might be clean drawers equals a creative mind. Clean drawers equals a creative mind. clean drawers equals a creative mind. And I want you to like close your eyes and really feel the feeling in your body. Like for me, it's that motivated. It's that like that butterflies. My heart kind of starts to beat a little bit faster. And I feel this like energy generating from my toes all the way up into my chest. And practice feeling that. And, some of you are going to kind of want to practice this new thought, like clean drawers are going to change my life. And if it doesn't feel true to you, if it doesn't feel real, I want you to back up and practice something called a ladder thought, which just sounds something like, I'm starting to think that it could be beneficial to keep my drawers really organized. I'm starting to notice that I feel a little bit more clear-minded when my drawers are clear. You're just kind of like easing into these new thoughts because we want to believe them. Then over time, you will become the person where we're like the natural, instantaneous thought is you see your drawers, you're maybe a little organized, and your instant thought is clean drawers, creative mind. You feel motivated, you clean the drawers, and suddenly you're a completely unrecognizable person. Now your kitchen is organized, your drawers are perfectly folded, and you don't even recognize yourself. You don't recognize your house because you have killed procrastination. You've completely powered over it, and you've become the ruler of the results that you create in your life. To review, the 4-step process to power over procrastination is number 1, just recognize what is the autopilot state that you're living in. And if you don't like it, let's reframe it. Discover what is the mental framing that you have and reframe it by reconnecting your mental frame with something that already motivates you right now. And once you find that, rewire your brain by practicing the thought, practicing the feeling, and then, my friend, you'll become unrecognizable. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and comment below what are some of the topics that you would like to see next in terms of personal development or sales related, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.